Good evening. Welcome to the Inspire Success Talk Show. Here we will be talking about the growing influence of space exploration. This is a super interesting topic because it dominates what we see on the news every day. People such as Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos get all the headlines. Companies such as SpaceX and Blue Origin dominate the scene. This is going to be a super interesting talk show because we're going to give all the different perspectives of space exploration. But what is space exploration in the first place?
So, mankind has always been fascinated with exploring the unknown. From sailing to distant lands to someday setting foot on other planets, the spirit of exploration stays the same. Space exploration, or the desire to colonize uncolonized lands and chart a path for humanity's future, comes from humanity's primal instinct to explore the unknown. One of the main ways in which we can see this is through the degree to which space exploration affects our economy and the labor patterns of our country, specifically regarding the jobs and employment related to space exploration.
So, uh, in my opinion, it affects jobs in so many different ways. If you can see, there's so many new technologies being invented day by day, they have to employ people to engineer and make these technologies better so we can get further and further into space, which is our instinctions.
I agree that it is definitely that space exploration is definitely affecting jobs and economics, but at the same time, is it helping it or is it causing more detrimental changes? For starters, because of space exploration, we're making more advancements in technology, which is a great thing. But when we take it back to the manufacturing level, factory workers are losing their jobs instantly just because there are robots that can do it for them. Therefore, although space exploration is increasing jobs, in order for people to get these jobs, they need to go through severe amounts of research, college, education, etc., that not everyone can afford. So, therefore, the impacts could be much more detrimental than most people really see by the naked eye.
Well, I think you also have to go back to the topic of general space exploration. We still don't know a lot about space exploration. It's still uh, a big topic and a very broad topic that we're still looking to improve our research in every single day. And as we improve our research, as we put in more time and more dedication, I feel like we just got to be patient, and an increase in our studies and an increase in more inventions being made and innovations will all contribute from dedication and money and hard work to space exploration.
I very much agree with this point because not only are we losing jobs, because as always, jobs will be lost. For example, when we go back to the first time when the plow was created, the plow was created in order to harvest cotton, which replaced manual labor by tenfold. However, there was some residual manual labor left in farmers with farmers so they can plow the cotton. However, as this happened, more jobs were created. Just because jobs are lost does not mean jobs will not be created. For example, jobs might be lost due to manufacturing, supply chain, techno- technology, but new jobs can be created, such as artificial intelligence, which is a new pathway the space exploration has opened up, and it is not practically taking over the space exploration field as we speak right now.
I agree with this point because as although factory workers are going to lose their jobs no matter what happens in the space exploration industry, there are still some things that can't that need actual human beings to work, such as very precise materials that need to be constructed in a certain way. Robots can't really do that just yet. So we need humans to do this. Additionally, people are getting educated more and more day by day. The education system is improving across the entire planet. So even though people won't be able to um, get to these factory jobs, there will still be more advanced job opportunities that people can still sign up for.
I agree that there are definitely different types of jobs opening up. And as Trinath said before, there are more jobs opening up in AI, whereas a manual worker might be losing their job. But that being said, take this scenario. You are either a farmer or you're a factory worker working every day just to make by to put food on your table for your family. One day you find out that a robot has taken over your job, you're unemployed, and people are expecting you to get a job in AI when you clearly don't have the education in order to get there. So, therefore, although there are many jobs being made, it doesn't exactly translate from a factory worker to an AI programmer. So, therefore, the people that are currently unemployed are still unemployed regardless of the new different jobs that are opening up because these skills don't translate to one another. That being said, I think we've talked a lot about the economical stand view, but I think we should consider more about the reason why we explore into space, which is maybe to inhabit another planet or to get different resources. So, do you guys think that we're using that the amount of money we're spending on space exploration just at the slightest thought of finding another planet? Is this profitable, or what are your point of views?
It is very profitable indeed because even though that might not be your goal, because for example, many technologies we have now today, such as headset, full, um, solar cells, and such as artificial limbs, these are all indirect influences from space exploration technology. All of the technologies I listed right now came from space exploration. Why? Because in order for space exploration to happen, new types of technologies and equipment and instruments had to be invented in order for us to progress further on. As a result, these indirect influences have all made a great impact on our lives. Solar cells, a very renewable source of energy, which can allow us to shift away from the cold days and start to look more at renewable sources as climate change starts to come into the topic. Another point, for example, artificial limbs. Back it used to be amputation, and back then many people used to be afraid of losing their limbs. Now, even though you'll still be afraid of losing limbs because that is one of the most valuable body parts for you, it can still be fixed because of artificial limbs, which enable you to do more tasks comparatively to when you don't have a limb, when you lost your limb. So this really has helped. Even though there aren't many direct benefits that space exploration has aimed to, there are many indirect benefits that space exploration has stumbled upon.
Yeah, Srinath makes an excellent point. If you think about it, if we didn't have space exploration in the beginning uh of just the general topic of space exploration and that motivation to explore space, then we probably wouldn't have had all these inventions being made. Because in the first place, we're creating, these satellites, high advanced satellites. We're creating, rovers to explore Mars and kind of figure out the life on Mars in general. How do you think we're getting this data in the first place? We're getting it from increased knowledge and these innovations, these different ways to create better inventions from the need and from the desire to explore space, because we know we want to make it easier to get from point A to point B, knowledge wise, from getting our data, all that kind of stuff. We need better inventions for that, and each day it's going to become a lot more difficult. So we're always obviously there's going to be a higher demand for an increase in better products as well. So I really like the point that Srinath made, and I completely agree with that.
Relating to the money point or the money standpoint, we're actually not spending as much money as you may think on space exploration. For example, the States spends less than half of its budget on space exploration. Actually, that's an understatement. it actually spends less than 10% on space exploration. Think about that. The United States has the largest military in the world. It spends almost half, or just around half, of its budget on the military. So I'm not sure why we're focusing so much on the money standpoint of space exploration when we have so many opportunities as in our economy to free up to maybe put people who lost their jobs into other jobs.
Yeah,
So
I agree with the point, and circling back to how we actually look at the budget. So in 2020, the budget for NASA spending was approximately 22 billion, and this is from the federal government. And this was surprisingly only 0.5% of federal spending for that year. So since the defense budget makes up 10% of the U.S. spending, we can reallocate at least 5% from, or no, 0.5% from defense to double the space exploration budget while not having a market impact on defense as we're not in a time of war anyway. So what else do you guys think we can do to help manage this budget?
I do agree that there are many that the U.S. isn't fully using their budget. But that being said, they're still spending around $650 billion, which, while that being said, it's a small portion of the budget already in place, but it's still a lot of money. And the rest of the budget that isn't being used should be going to more pressing issues such as global warming or homelessness, etc. And back to the point that Srinath made earlier about technology and how we're getting indirect benefits from space exploration, it would be much more cost efficient if rather than having to spend um, a certain amount of money on making a rocket and then getting like a fraction of that in technology back for people on Earth, it would be much more cost efficient if we just cut the middleman and directly spent these funds on helping create technologies for Earth rather than using them for space and then probably wasting some of this money. So, what do you guys think about this?
I definitely agree because there is an issue when it comes to a lot of people talk about how we should allocate budget for this, that, and then the main point where it all comes back to space. In what way are we gaining from space? That's what many people have in mind. But that in reality is we're gaining a lot from space exploration. We're learning new things. We are discovering new technology. We are discovering new medicine. For example, experiments are conducted in space for a fact. Because of the zero gravity in space, it allows us to look at cells at a microscopic level, and it makes us come up with new types of medicine. That's one point. A second point is solar cells. How global warming is a present change, and one of the many ideas that are being proposed are to convert in a lot of the energy and then replace it with solar cells or solar panels. That's what we call it nowadays. So solar panels are increasingly becoming widespread throughout the world. Many people are replacing it from the coal powered to solar cells. This has been an improved benefit, and this is because of space exploration. If more people have any kind of doubts on budget, what I propose is that they do a floor and ceiling budget where they keep a max and a minimum budget that they can have. And then whatever amount of money they see fit in between the floor and ceiling, they can be able to take that money and be able to save that money later on if they needed to do more. And every single certain years, per se, they can review to either increase or decrease the floor, ceiling, or both. And as a result, we can be able to more manage and efficiently reduce or increase budget depending on how many projects they're doing and then what funding is necessary for their projects.
I agree somewhat and somewhat disagree in a way. I definitely understand the point where we should be spending a lot more money on our current issues. Going back to what some of what Srinath said and Sahana, I definitely agree about that. We should definitely be spending more money on that. But uh saying the term of like wasted on space exploration, would be like kind of kind of not that smart, because if you think about it, space exploration is like such an important thing, and it helps us more than a lot of people think, such as our environment. And one big example I can give you is our atmosphere. And we do research on our atmosphere, and one of the biggest things is keeping that ozone layer, because we know that ozone layer is extremely important in keeping, us all safe, or the sun would eventually, destroy everybody. So the ozone layer is something that scientists have been researching for a long, long time. And if we didn't research about that, uh, then a lot of people would be kind of clueless about these situations, about how scientists are looking at it, or how we should go on with our daily lives about it, and people wouldn't really be like sure about how to interpret little things. And if we didn't know about stuff, for example, saying the ozone layer, if we didn't know about that, then that could be a huge loss for us going to the future. So I think looking at space exploration, you have to also look at the future as well. How can it benefit us from 15 years? How can it benefit us from 30 years? And then you have the questions of, oh, how about when we're going to another planet like Mars, for example? We've already had a lot of talks about that. How would that look like? I want to get your guys' perspective on that.
So, regarding this, I think that we should definitely be focusing more on Earth rather than other planets, considering how there is no valid information that says that we can survive on other planets or that we can actually like live there and colonize. And this takes lots of work and money that we might not be able to afford. So it would be much more feasible if we were to work more on Earth itself. So, like Freenot said, solar panels are a great idea. um, they are a little bit expensive, but as time goes on and we start producing more, the cost should be more feasible and more people should be able to use them. So this could help us maintain Earth rather than being able to go out into other planets. So do you guys think that we should stay on Earth or look for other planets to inhabit?
So
Uh,
certainly, I think there's going to be a lot of impediments to looking to colonize the other planets. So obviously, some of the most upfront ones would be agriculture, and then perhaps the most important would be the possibility of loss of life or human injury. So I guess if we're going to look towards colonization and the future of space exploration, we'll also want to look at switching to more automated and AI-based methods of space exploration. And this automation will likely complement the advancement of automation on Earth as technology develops in parallel between space and on Earth. So, what else do you guys think that space exploration holds in the future?
Well,
I think that's a great point taken because not only do we need to look at we also need to look at a CBA analysis because in order for us to go into more depth of space exploration, we also need to research more. What are the benefits? What are the costs? For example, the nearest planet, which is most likely inhabitable for us, which has water and oxygen and clean air, which has been detected by numerous space telescopes, is a couple of thousand light years away. We've only reached the speed of sound. We have not reached light speed yet. So there will be cost benefit analysis as to how long we can stay in space and travel in order for us to reach those distant planets. So there is some drawbacks, but there are some possibilities as well. As more advanced technology comes into play, we will be able to utilize them and see fit as to where we can place them and how readily we can use them for our benefit.
Thank you for that. I think that this is about it. I want to thank everyone here today for watching this. I think we made some really good conversation regarding the economic standpoint of space exploration, whether or not we should stay on Earth or go out into space, the job point of view, and more. So I just want to thank everyone tonight for watching us and for you all to have a nice day. And just think to yourself next time when you guys want to consider either your profession or just look at Elon Musk and other people who are venturing out into space. How is this the most feasible way to do it? And if not, how else should this happen?